Hello everybody, it's Foo here for week 5 of the WBE Let's Go Draft League, and this week we're facing off against the Seattle Seakings, coached by Joedor. So going into this week, we're coming off a really tight win from Dan aka A-Drive. It was a 1-0 and it could have easily gone his way. And I think it was a bit of a learning point for me, and I definitely need to be more aware in prep of potential setup opportunities and how to deal with them. So this week, I'm going into this week really wanting to try my best to avoid sticky situations and win comfortably. That's what I'm going to try to do. So I'll be going through the matchup we've got against Joedor and talking to you through the team that I'm bringing, but if you just want to see the battle, I'll leave a timestamp in the description as usual. So, looking at Joedor's team, and he's got some interesting Pokemon on there. The biggest threats, I think, to my team, just to point them out immediately, are probably Himonlee, because though it's not the fastest thing, it actually lands in a weird speed tier gap in my team, that it basically speeds everything other than my Kadabra and Electabuzz, which I'm not sure if I want to bring this week, and obviously my Mega Aerodactyl speeds it. So Mega Aerodactyl can revenge it quite easily with its flying type moves, but if it gets bulk ups up, then it doesn't revenge it very easily, so I need to be really careful about Himonlee and setting up bulk ups. I really don't have great switch-ins on it anyway, so it is a very scary Pokemon. The other things that I need to watch out for are potentially Hypno. I know it sounds really stupid, but it's one of the things that Mega Aerodactyl can't take on very well, and it could potentially set up barriers and things like that. And then other than that, I mean, Mega Charizard Y could be hard to switch in on. I need to be careful of things using Substitute. But really, Electrode is the only other thing that I need to keep my eye on, because it actually speed ties with Mega Aerodactyl. So I know that Joedor specifically drafted it because he would then have something to speed tie Mega Aerodactyl, so I definitely think that it's coming. So with that in mind, let's take a look at the team that I'm going to be bringing this week. So first off, obviously I'm going to be bringing my Mega Aerodactyl because it is a really good matchup for Mega Aerodactyl this week. Rock Slide deals with some of the biggest scary things. It's an easy revenge on Mega Charizard Y, and it obviously hits Gyarados really well. I just need a little bit of chip on those two. We've got Earthquake on here as well because it really helps out with some things like Alolan Muck. It means that if I do have that 1v1 versus Electrode, I should be able to OHKO it. And even with its Electro type attacks, it can't OHKO me back unless I've taken some prior damage, really. I just not OHKO'd by Electrode, so I don't really plan on 1v1ing it with my Mega Aerodactyl because it's a sticky situation. Even though it can't OHKO me, if it Thunder Waves me, Mega Aerodactyl is basically useless and I will lose the game. So I don't want to 1v1 Electrode. And I was actually considering bringing Adamant because it would still outspeed everything other than Electrode, and I don't anticipate having that 1v1. But then I was like, if I'm forced into that situation, I want to have a chance of outspeeding and KOing it, so that's why we're bringing Jolly this week. And the last move is Wing Attack, really important for being able to check that Hitmonlee, which is probably the biggest threat to my team, so that's why that's there. I brought Roost. There are a couple of things I could Roost on, potentially force them out and go for the Roost. It means that if Stealth Rock go up, this thing can last a bit longer. Taunt could have been useful, although I don't think it is really as useful as Roost, and Crunch could have been there for Hypno, but in the end I think Roost is probably the safest bet. We've then got my Snorlax, which is going to be my Mega Charizard Y switch-in. It tanks the special hits really well. I do need to watch out for Mega Charizard Y's physical move pool though, because it does get a physical attack boost when it Mega Evolves too, and it gets things like Brick Break, which actually do a lot more damage to my Snorlax. I should still be able to take 2, but it's just something to bear in mind. That I have to watch out for those physical type moves. It also helps out with Hypno, so another reason to bring my Snorlax. So I've got Facade on there because things generally tend to like whittling this thing down with status moves is one of the easiest ways to whittle down Snorlax. If that happens, it means that he becomes an absolute nuke. It means that he's not bothered about Will-O-Wisp from Charizard or Flareon or whatever. It can take burns, so I think it's really important to put that on there. Rock Slide is for better checking Charizard Y, so if I'm not burned, obviously Rock Slide is going to be doing a lot more damage. Brick Break is there because I'm kind of concerned that screens might be coming. I think Electrode, Joedor specifically said he's bringing it for Mega Aerodactyl, and and it doesn't have a very good move pool, so it's probably, if it comes, it's probably got screens, and I can break them away, because if screens go up, that's another win condition for Joedor. He's got his Himonlee, but also screens, so I need to make sure that screens don't go up. And the last move is Surf, specifically for Onyx if it comes, because this thing actually hits his team really, really well. Nothing really likes taking a facade, apart from Onyx, which I can then Surf. So that's the Snorlax. We've got Poliwrath coming, which is just an all-out attacking Poliwrath. This thing checks Gyarados relatively well. It takes its moves really well. Rock Slide would always do. It doesn't 2-hit KO, but after Rocks, I think it does 2-hit KO, so that's pretty good. Waterfall there to hit a lot of his team for really decent damage. Brick Break, again, for breaking any screens, but also for hitting Chansey a bit harder. And then Earthquake is there just for the Alolan Muck, because this could well be something that Alolan Muck wants to switch in on. I can Earthquake it for a lot of damage, so that's the Poliwrath. We're then bringing this weird Venusaur. It's not really for anything specific, apart from maybe Ivysaur. It means that I've got something to prevent anything going to sleep, and it should take on its pre-evolution quite well, because obviously it's got better stats. I thought that a sub-Leech Seed set would actually be the best set here, because it takes on some of Joedor's best switch-ins to Venusaur really well, and those Pokemon are the same Pokemon that could actually maybe take some hits from Mega Aerodactyl. So specifically things like Alolan Muck, but also Hypno. Hypno could be a really good switch-in on Venusaur, so what this would allow me to do is substitute Leech Seed, and then make sure that I can whittle it down to the point where Sludge Bomb is going to take it out, or at least have put it in range of my Mega Aerodactyl without Crunch. So that's the idea of this set. Sludge Bomb is its only attacking move, means that I can't deal with Onyx very well, but still Sludge Bomb does quite a bit to Onyx because it's got really low special defense. So that's the reason behind this Venusaur. It's not intended to stall Joedor's entire team. It's literally just there to get chip on specific Pokemon so that Aerodactyl can sweep. I am not looking to stall. We've only got a 20-minute timer, so that's why this is coming. And also, it's another fighting type resist, so it should be able to take at least one hit from Hitmonlee, put it in range of Mega Aerodactyl KOing, even if it's got a bulk up. So hopefully Venusaur can do that job. So yeah, that's that one. And then a really important Pokemon actually, Nidoking. Nidoking is coming because of the Stealth Rock. It means that Charizard is really neutered. It always puts Gyarados in range of a Rock Slide. Also Chansey. After one Stealth Rock switch in, Chansey is probably KO'd by Rock Slide. So that's really, really good. It's just really important for getting those calcs perfect for my Mega Aerodactyl. Earthquake hits a lot of things on his team, and whatever Earthquake doesn't hit, Thunder Punch does. So this thing outspeeds Gyarados and can hit it with Thunder Punch, so that's really good. It means that Gyarados will never be able to get up a sub before Aerodactyl can take it out, so really, really helpful. The last move, I kind of wanted Mega Horn on here for Hypno, but in the end, because I know that this is the thing that I will be switching into Electrode, if Electrode is trying to get up screens, this thing is probably the thing that's going to be breaking them down. So Brick Break it on this guy. I've got it on two other things just in case screens manage to get up somehow, but really this guy is the main Brick Breaker. So yeah, as I say, I would have preferred other coverage, but I think these moves are the most important moves to allow Nidoking to do its job. And then the final Pokemon we've got today is a Kabutops, because I think actually it's got a pretty decent sweeping matchup. Anything that it doesn't outspeed, it does a lot of damage to with Aqua Jet. So we're looking at things like Mega Charizard, Electrode, and Hitmonlee. After a Swords Dance, and maybe all I need is maybe a couple of Rock Switch-ins, and they're all gone to Aqua Jet. The only thing I do need to watch out for is Gyarados, because it obviously can take the Aqua Jet and does outspeed, but Rock Slide should deal with that. I should be able to live any one hit from it, so that's this thing. I think it's a decent chance of sweeping. Also, just having Aqua Jet means that if the Hitmonlee does get a bulk up, again, Aqua Jet is something that I can use to put it in range of my Mega Aerodactyl. You can tell that I'm really scared of that Hitmonlee, but it's just because of Dan's Alakazam last week getting up defense boosts and then me not actually having that much of a way to deal with it. So making sure that I've acknowledged my mistake last time, and hopefully I should have patched things up a bit more. Unfortunately this week, Joedor, because of time differences and because we're both working men, it means that I won't be able to record live because it's too late and I will be waking people up with my noisiness. So I'll have to post narrate it, unfortunately. But we'll skip to the battle now. Okay, so we matched up with Joedor. As I said, this will have to be a post-narration because of our time difference and the fact that we both work. It was actually done like really late at night for me and during Joe's lunch break at work, so it wasn't ideal for either of us, but you just have to make these things work. And in the setup, as we were trying to get ready, I had a controller issue, so I entered one Pokemon and then it like glitched and we entered the battle, and anyway, so we had to reset with the same leads, which was fine because I had led with the Pokemon that I intended to lead with. But anyway, looking at Joe's team, he brought pretty much what I thought he would. They're generally his best Pokemon. He brought the Electrode from my Mega Aerodactyl as I thought he would, and then the only thing I wasn't sure about was the Chansey. I've got lots of physical attackers, so it doesn't really do very well against my team unless he was predicting something like a Kadabra. But really that's the only thing I think it beats. But the other Pokemon he could have brought was Hypno, which I definitely thought he might, but we don't see that, which is a good thing for me. But the Himonlee is there, so that's the thing that I'm really scared of. Anyway, in terms of leads, I wanted to lead with my Venusaur because I was kind of not concerned about anything that could beat Venusaur leading. Like, he could have led with Charizard Y, but I've got a switch in for that in my Snorlax, and I was more concerned with things like maybe Electrode leading or maybe Hitmonlee leading. If Hitmonlee led, that wouldn't be very nice for me. So I just thought Venusaur, and because also seeing that there's no Ivysaur on his team, seeing that there's no Hypno, my Venusaur is a bit more expendable too, because it was specifically really to whittle those things down. Now instead I can lead with it just to see what he wants to do, and it can do something to most things apart from Charizard, so that's alright. The Gyarados comes out, and I actually, I'm not going to stay in here, even though I don't have an awful matchup. I'm thinking just switching into Poliwrath is my best play here because it does take on Gyarados really well. That's its role this match. It doesn't take on Charizard very well because it has Air Slash and Wing Attack and stuff. So I can't take on Charizard very well. So I'm just going to throw this in front of the Gyarados and see what the Gyarados wants to do. I've got Rock Slide for Gyarados, so I was kind of thinking maybe an Earthquake will come out, or maybe even a Sub. I think a Sub would have been good because obviously leading with Venusaur, he might have thought that I would Sleep Powder first turn. But anyways, we can go for the Rock Slide here. If he wants to switch out, it should do decent damage to anything. I don't think he has much that wants to take it on, apart from maybe Hitmonlee, but Hitmonlee you don't put in front of a Poliwrath. Poliwrath would beat it. So anyway, Muck comes in. We can get some good damage on that, and that is actually really good damage. I was quite impressed with that. I didn't think it would do that much. I do have the Earthquake, which I can go for now, and I don't really mind sacrificing some HP on my Poliwrath. I don't think that Muck can do much to me. Maybe a Moonblast or maybe a Mega Drain. Mega Drain really won't be doing much damage, and it won't be healing much either though, because Poliwrath is really bulky and Muck's special attack stat is really low. And as you can see, he does actually go for the Mega Drain, but it's not going to be doing much. Mega Drain is only really good on Muck for things that are 4 times weak to it, so against my Kabutops that would have been a really good play, but against my Poliwrath, because it's so bulky, Mega Drain's not going to be doing enough. So here I'm just going to go for a Waterfall. I mean, it's better than an Earthquake in terms of the things he could switch into it, which would more likely be Gyarados if he does want to switch in. Like, at least I get a bit of chip with Waterfall rather than nothing with Earthquake. Or if he wants to try to go into his Charizard, which would not be a very good play. Waterfall generally, just because it's a stab move, it's going to be doing more to most things. And yeah, if he wants to preserve Muck at this stage, he can, but everything other than my Snorlax outspeeds it at this stage, so it's not too useful for him. And this is a really good start for me, having Muck gone, basically. Muck is a very good Pokemon in the Let's Go format, but this week it didn't have a great matchup just because it's it's a great special tank, but I have 5 physical attackers. And the one special attacker I have is Sub-Leech Seed Venusaur, which also beats Muck, so Muck really did not have a good matchup this time. I don't know if that's just because of the build that I went with, you know, it's not just because of matchup, it's also because of the Pokemon that I chose to bring. But anyway, we've got Electrode in here, which is fine. I can go straight into my Nidoking, which is a good thing for me because I could potentially set up my rocks, and I know that there's nothing that Electrode could do. I was half expecting a double switch here, expecting my Nidoking, but it didn't happen because Joedor does have screens, as I thought he might, and that was the opportunity he could go for to get them up. But I do have the Brick Break, which is great. So he goes for taunt here, obviously expecting maybe a stealth rock, so that was a pretty good play, but I just want to get rid of the screens as soon as possible, so that's good that I can just get the Brick Break off. And I thought about maybe going for an Earthquake here, or maybe going for a Thunder Punch, predicting a switch, so that is actually what I do, because Electro can't really do anything against my Nidoking here, so I just went for a Thunder Punch. If he wanted to go into Gyarados maybe for an Earthquake switch in or a Brick Break switch in, I would have really punished that. But the Protector's there just to scout, I guess. And now I'm just going to go for another Brick Break. I do not want those screens going up, so I'm just going to Brick Break them as soon as they go up. We can start chipping away at this Electrode, and already it's really low. I think if he tries to go for another Reflect, my Brick Breaks are not going to take him out, but the Taunt has worn off, so I'm going to try to get these rocks up. If he goes for a Taunt, that's fine, but actually he goes for another Reflect. So I get my rocks up, which is fantastic. Like, that trade-off is amazing. Rocks are more important than the Brick Break right now, because it means that Gyarados will be put in range, Chansey will be put in range, Charizard will be weakened to the point of Aqua Jet. It's like so important that rocks go up, and now this turn I could go for the Brick Break anyway if he wants to switch. So that's fine with me. As long as the screens are gone, that's good. He doesn't have a Ghost type. The only thing that I was concerned about was if this had Explosion. If the Electrode had Explosion, there wouldn't be a target for me to use Brick Break on, so the screen would at least stay up until the next turn. So that would have been a lot more scary. But really the only thing that would force me out or not allow me to go for another Brick Break, well, I guess there's Hitmonlee and Charizard. And both of them, I think, after Rocks would still be in Mega Aerodactyl range, so that's not too much of an issue there. So right now, I'm just going to go for the Brick Break, as he does actually withdraw. He doesn't go for the Explosion, so that's really good for me. It means that I will be able to get up, will be able to get rid of the screen. And what's nice here is that the Brick Break not only gets rid of the screen, but it puts Charizard below half health, so that if it wants to come in again, it has to go for a Roost at some point, because otherwise Stealth Rock will take it out from there. I've got my dedicated switch into Charizard, so it's kind of paint by numbers here. I'm just going to go straight into my Snorlax. There's nothing he can do at this stage that can 2-hit KO me. His rocks haven't gone up, so even Brick Break wouldn't 2-hit KO me. So right now, switching into this, and I'm not too concerned. What I was really hoping for would be that he went for a Will-O-Wisp, and that's actually what we see, which is just best case scenario, because now I can just spam Facade. There's nothing on his team that can take it because he didn't bring his Onix. So literally, Facade is an absolute nuke. It's going to be doing over half to everything on his team. It's just so good. So that Will-O-Wisp is really going to put Joe on the back foot here. As he does go for the Roost, I can go for Facade. I was expecting it to take him down to red, but it just KOs. I did not think that it would just KO. But it does. Snorlax really showing his power here. He's a brave Snorlax this week. It didn't need the speed for anything, so I can just boost up that attack stat, and Snorlax is looking amazing. But it does mean that the scary Hitmonlee gets to come in, and I kind of want to preserve Snorlax, because with the burn, it's really a very good Pokemon. It will be able to get a KO against something else, and also it means that I can absorb status from anything else too. If I think he's going to go for a Toxic or a Thunder Wave, I can throw this thing in. So I'm going to go straight into my Venusaur. As I said at the beginning of the match, it's my most expendable Pokemon, and we can at least try to get some damage on the Hitmonlee. As we see, it does go for bulk up, so that is the scariest threat that we're facing off against right now. I'm timid, so if it outspeeds me, it means that it is jolly, so there'll be a little bit of limitation on how much damage it does. It won't be adamant, so that's good, but if I outspeed, that would be amazing. But we can go for a Sludge Bomb here, hope for a Poison maybe, because that would really make it a lot easier to deal with, especially seeing as though I've got Protect on Venusaur, so we could get a couple of turns of poison damage. But anything he goes for right now I don't think can take out Venusaur. Venusaur's got really nice just general bulk, so we should be able to get at least one Sludge Bomb off. If he goes for a sub, we can break any sub. He actually does go for an Earthquake, and we see here it does over half damage, but he does outspeed, so he's jolly and he's doing over half damage. That's just craziness. So now what I could do is go for a protect to scout for a high jump kick, but like there's no reason for me to do that because he could just go for another bulk up, and the best play for me right there is just to go for a sludge bomb. I didn't actually anticipate the high jump kick would just take me out. Earthquake did like that much damage, so like a resisted high jump kick did pretty much as an unresisted earthquake. That's insane. But I can go into my Aerodactyl here. That Sludge Bomb definitely put Himonlee in range of a wing attack, even with the defense boost. So Aerodactyl can save my skin here. And I knew that Aero was so pivotal in this match for things like this. It's good that his Stealth Rock haven't gone up yet, because it means that Aerodactyl isn't limited on switch-ins at the moment. Anyway, yeah, the Electro comes in and it takes the Rock's damage, and I don't know if it will go down to the wing attack here. I don't want to risk a speed tie, so if it doesn't, I'm going to have to switch out. But actually it does. Even with a Jolly Aerodactyl, this isn't even adamant, I can take out the Electrode, and then now Aerodactyl really doesn't have anything on his team that is threatening at all. There are only a couple of things that it might not be able to take out yet, so things like Chansey, which is what Joe brings in now, which is the right play. Even things like that, like, they don't, yeah, they're not going to take hits very well. This could well already be in range of Rock Slide, but there's no point in me risking it here. So I was thinking I could go into my Snorlax, but I actually decided to go into Poliwrath because it does threaten a bit more with that break. In hindsight, look, because he went for the Thunder Wave, maybe Snorlax would have been my better play, because it meant that he couldn't get the paralysis and potential power hacks, which is one of the ways that could still win Joedor the game. I'm going to go for a Rock Slide here, as Joedor could well go into maybe Gyarados, predicting a fighting type move. I think Rock Slide is my play, because it'll easily 2-hit KO Chansey. I think it'll easily 2-hit KO Chansey. Chansey has like no defense in this game. It goes down to physical hits so easily. So yeah, I'm just going to go for a Rock Slide. If he goes into Gyarados, then I catch that and should be able to 2-hit KO it. He does unfortunately manage to get his Stealth Rock up here, which is slightly annoying because it will chip things down a bit. It means that Himonlee is a bit more of a threat to the rest of my Pokemon, as I do miss Rock Slide. I mean, with the paralysis chance and with the Rock Slide accuracy, the odds were kind of stacked against me getting an attack up there. So this turn I just opt to go for Brick Break, which is guaranteed damage on anything. And I am able to get it off here and to take out the Chansey. So that's Chansey just gone. But to be fair, Chansey wouldn't have been able to stand up to many things on my team. So anyway, it's gone. That's good. And now I'm thinking that probably, yeah, either Gyarados or Himonlee could come in here. Himonlee does come in. Joe has seen his wing condition, because now that I'm paralyzed, if he can bank on paralysis hacks, then he could potentially win, because if he gets enough defense boosts, then wing attack isn't going to take him out. The fact is that I know that I think he needs 3 defense boosts to be able to live a wing attack from Mega Aerodactyl. So he needs 3 paralysis chances, which is like so low. It's like a 1 in 16 chance or something. And even if he does get 3 defense boosts, an Aqua Jet from my Kabutops will still put him in range of a wing attack from Aerodactyl. So it's looking pretty stacked against Joe right now, especially with this way that he's gone about it, because I could potentially miss an attack against Gyarados, but I've still got my Nidoking in the back. So anyway, we do get 1 paralysis hacks, and Joe manages to get up some damage against me. He goes for 1 bulk up, and I'm paralyzed, which is not good. If he gets 2 more, then he stands a chance at winning. I'm just going to go for Waterfall, because if I get 1 Waterfall off, he can't get enough defense boosts up to be able to beat my Gyarados. So as long as I can get 1 Waterfall off, which I do here, thank the Lord, then he can't beat my Mega Aerodactyl. I could still miss a Rock Slide with Mega Aerodactyl, but I still have a lot of things in the back to be able to take on a Gyarados. So I think at this point in the game, we're looking alright. He opts to go for Rock Slide, which is interesting because obviously, like, it could miss. It doesn't really matter because Himonlee is no longer his wing condition. We can switch into my Mega Aerodactyl, go for that wing attack, and basically win from there as long as I hit my Rock Slide against the Gyarados. So we go for a wing attack against the Hitmonlee. It definitely doesn't have enough defense at that range of HP. There's no world in which a Hitmonlee can survive a wing attack. So we'll go for that right now, and spoilers, it hits the Hitmonlee and it takes it out. So that is good. Is there anything Joe could have done differently? Well, I think he went for damage on my Poliwrath at first. He should have just started bulking up. But even then, he wouldn't really have been able to win unless I got many more paralysis hacks. So anyway, Gyarados comes in here. Do we hit the Rock Slide? This is the one way that he could potentially still win, is if I miss this Rock Slide. Do I miss the Rock Slide? I do not miss the Rock Slide. Does it take out the Gyarados? It definitely takes out the Gyarados. So that's going to be another win. Quite a convincing 4-0 win. I do think that Mega Aerodactyl had a really nice matchup this week, but Joe did have some tools to threaten it. The things like the Electrode and things that it couldn't take out straight away, like I guess if you brought Hypno or bulk ups with Hitmonlee, those were definitely his win conditions. So yeah, it was a really good battle. It was well played. Could I have done anything better? Could I take any learning points from this? Maybe switching in my Snorlax against the Chansey was the better play, just because it meant that I couldn't be Parahaxed for a potential win condition for Joe. It basically meant that he didn't have a win condition. But at the same time, it would be sacrificing differential at that stage, because Snorlax wouldn't be able to beat Chansey and Hitmonlee and Gyarados. It meant that I was basically definitely throwing away my Snorlax at that stage. Whereas if he hadn't got Parahaxes against my Poliwrath could have definitely beaten at least 2 of his last Pokemon, if not all 3. But that's the way that things go. So yeah, that's my week 5 match. We're now 5-0 up, which is great. But it is also worth noting that I haven't been against anyone that has a win under their belt yet. Everyone I fought, when I fought them, they didn't have any wins. So I've still got like a lot of really scary opponents to face. In fact, I think the next 5 people that I'm fighting now all have some, if not all, wins. I've got some really, really tough fights ahead. So this is when the league is going to get really interesting, when we've got the league leaders going off against each other, and I've got my work cut out for me. I do think the Mega Aero is a great win condition every week, but I'm not sure if I've got enough to support it every week to be able to pull those out. So stay tuned for that, because it's going to get intense. But that's going to be all for today. Thank you so much to Joedor for the battle. Please go and check out his channel to see his side of the battle and his thought process. See why he brought what he brought. He brought the bulk up Hitmonlee, and that was really his best chance, and also the screens. But because of my prep, I was prepared for the screens, so that is fine. But yeah, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I've been foofootoo, you've been awesome, and hopefully see you next time. Goodbye.